Coming to you live from quarantine in Brooklyn, New York, specifically Gowanus Canal, Brooklyn, New York. What are we supposed to do with all this time we have? Alone. I don't know. I'm looking at you too. You are a character in this video. The only thing I know to do when stuck at home alone is to make cocktails, and of course, when making a whiskey cocktail, the most important thing is to use a whiskey that you'd be happy to drink neat. The whiskey I'll be using for this cocktail is Old Pulteney, which is a delicious coastal whiskey from a small town called Wick in the northernmost regions of Scotland. We're talking about the same latitude as Juneau, Alaska, way up there. And as such has this beautiful vanilla, honey notes, and especially a lot of coastal salinity. As you know, salt is the secret to making any great dish and of course any great cocktail. For this series of cocktail videos, we're going to be using things that you will normally find in your pantry. A pantry that is no doubt more stocked than it usually is, given the health scare with the coronavirus. Honey is one of my favorite things that we go through quite often, and you see we have a bunch. I found a few that I didn't know we had and forgot we had. We've got organic ginger ones from Hawaii. We've got dark Quebecois wild honey types. But the best thing to do is to use a local honey from wherever you are. Support locally whenever you can. That is until you close the door behind you, never come back outside of your apartment. I am going to make honey syrup. A honey syrup is something that takes an ingredient that will last forever. It will outlive us all. I'm going to actually balance it with about equal measure of water. Take a nice heavy spoon and just get a chunk. And do not waste your time trying to measure this with a jigger. Do it by weight. So we got 19 grams of sugar here. Honey, rather. I'm going to add equal parts water. Okay. Now you can go 1-to-1 on the syrup. 1-to-1 gives you still a lot of nice flavor, but frankly, I think you're actually that's the wrong path. You're gonna get way more body if you go 2-to-1. Just shake it up. I do not recommend wearing a necktie while making this syrup. This is also useful because all the gyms are closed. This is going to be the only cardio I get for 2 weeks. Then, excellent. When you see there's no chunks left, it's great. Let it sit, let it hang out, let it come to temperature. You don't want to use ingredients that are warm when making a cocktail. You take the honey syrup you made the other day and you use that to make a drink. It's going to blow your mind. I'm going to use about 1/2 ounce of the honey syrup. I'm going to use 1/2 ounce of Fernet Branca, which is, again, a super popular Amaro or Italian bitter. You can find it in any store. You can find it on Drizzly if you want to have it delivered to your house. It's an alpine Italian bitter liqueur. And one of the major botanicals in this bottle is saffron. And saffron and honey go together quite well. So that was 1/2 ounce of Fernet, and then 2 ounces, of course, of our Old Pulteney 12-year-old. Some ice from the fridge. If your freezer is as fully stocked as ours is, remember one kind of fun tip is to wash your ice before you use it. I know it might seem a little bit silly, but smell your ice before you use it. Trust me. Yeah. Pour everything over top. Give this a nice stir. Now the proportions I used for this cocktail were 1/2 ounce of honey syrup, half ounce of Fernet Branca, and then 2 ounces of the Old Pulteney 12-year-old. That's my personal preference. If you don't like bitterness, use more honey. If you have an aversion to sweetness, use more Fernet. If you don't think that this drink is going to be quite light enough for you to have in the afternoon, honestly, change the proportions, make it 1.5 Scotch, 3/4 honey, 3/4 bitters. If you don't have a spoon, you could very easily use a metal straw or even a chopstick, whatever you have laying around the house. Your finger, if you want. If you don't have a lovely jigger like this guy from OXO, that's a nice angled jigger, you can use, I know you've got any of these guys, just, you can figure it out, do the math. You got plenty of time. Desperate times call for desperate measuring cups. But for me, actually, it needs a little bit more syrup. So I'll measure out some more. One other important difference between a good cocktail and a great one is serving a cold drink in a cold glass. I know I said we don't have a whole lot of room in the freezer these days. I made a little bit of room just to sneak in 2 glasses for a couple minutes. I can now take those out. Thank God, because where would I be without all of my frozen waffles? Make sure that you sip this cocktail before you pour it. Want to make sure it's to your liking. I made this drink, it's sort of a take on a Toronto. A Toronto cocktail is a classic whiskey cocktail that uses rye whiskey and rich, simple syrup. As you can see, I've been using this lemon a little bit. If you don't have fresh fruit, if you're really running out of time and you're using all the extra fruit you have in the fridge from that stir fry you made the other day, you can use that. If you don't have any, it's totally fine. Either way, it's gonna be delicious. And I hope that you enjoy this cocktail as much as I do. Wanna try? I just need to come up with a name for it.
Herd immunity.
This is a Hawaiian honey I got. I mean, this is like 4 years old, and it still tastes and smells great. It tastes and smells great. You can't really tell though. Oh, you got it? Oh, look at the hands. Can't open either.